trying to fix something that we think is broken, maybe it's not broken. Maybe it's our thinking that's upside down. Thinking, for example, that healing is something that happens to us, upside down. That God will heal us if we gather a large enough and fervent enough prayer circle, often called prayer warriors, as if we're in for a big fight, big upside down. And the big frog to swallow that I get in trouble for all the time is this. So hear me in the spirit with which I say it. God does not heal. I say that pointedly. Here's the reason. God is not an actor. God is not a superhuman personality that does things, right? God is in the formless, in the potential, and in the allness that is. So rather, we heal. We heal. And we heal in the state of realization that we are divine. So to heal is to realize, to nurture, to free ourselves. Freedom was one of the early themes here today. To free ourselves from, thoughts that don't conform to our divine identity, to our nature, and to free ourselves for the purpose of evolving, right? To free ourselves for that which we want to be expressing, which is our wholeness of being. It's to free ourselves to devote our full attention to our whole life and to the power of life. That great power, which is one of our spiritual capacities, right? The power of animation, vitality, and presence that speaks to the wholeness of life. That is our nature. But so often our attention goes to what seems to be missing, wrong, or broken. We ask what caused this to happen. Who and what has the capacity to heal me? And if we stay in that mindset, we start spinning in incapacity and start noticing that we feel incapable. This is one of the great things that I love about Unity is that we teach. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, first really identified this, that we have pivotal power, that the power of mind is pivotal. And that means really to me that we're fully human as well as fully divine, that our human feelings are precious, they're tender, they're to be honored and appreciated, but also to know that our human feelings are followers, not leaders, right? That they're indicators, they're not directors. Because to act based on feelings alone is to react. Maybe you've tried it a time or two, like I've done for a lifetime, and have had to learn this distinction. And so it's about this pivotal nature is that the divine of our nature is subtle, right? It's beneath the surface. I think about it like a teacher sitting silently at the head of a classroom, just waiting for the students to settle in their seats and be ready, It's that part of us that lies in potential until we be still and know, until we turn our attention inward, or we pivot our attention to the divine of our nature rather than the only human thought of ourself, right? So it is the human in us that questions why, and human answers to that question are mostly troubling. Really, throughout history, they've been troubling. So we've been told by our culture, for example, things like this, that humans are by design broken and fallen, right? That God needs to punish or worse, to test us or to teach us lessons or even to strengthen us. We say things like, God only gives me what I can handle. Does God? Or we say, well, it's for the glory of God. And we've been taught by a mostly fundamentalist sort of religious culture around us that we must rely upon the God that hurts us to heal us. Think about that. I mean, that's built into the scriptures. In the Hebrew scriptures, there's a whole thing about that God that is bringing about great hardship upon the people. Why? Because he loves us. And this God will save us. And this is what most of us have inherited by means of the culture, right? And what we've been taught through the years. Even if we don't subscribe to it today, we have that pattern built in, and we hear it in the messages that we still receive and that we oftentimes share. Or we say, well, only God knows why. And it leads us to the very Catholic thing that I was brought up on, and that is that suffering is noble and brings us closer to God. So, many of us, we feel like, and we say, oh, look, I'm evolved way beyond that kind of thinking. And I agree with you. I certainly am too. But, we no longer believe that God needs us to be weak in order for God to be strong, so to speak, right? But we oftentimes are no better replacing God with the universe. Because how many times have you heard, or maybe even said yourself, the universe is hitting me with a proverbial 2x4, right? Trying to get my attention, trying to teach me a lesson upside down. I'm telling you, that's upside down. So I invite you, bring to mind something that you have misunderstood to be missing, wrong, or broken. Something unfinished that seems like it needs to be taken care of or repaired or whatever in your life. And when you ask the question of why is this going on, I tell you the answer to my why. It's for love. Now think about this. Love is one of our great spiritual powers, right? It's one of our 12 powers as we teach them in unity. Love is the magnetizing power. It's the power that Charles Fillmore referred to as the great magnet of the universe. Draws all to itself. Well, if that's what love is, then all things that happen for the cause of love. For the magnetizing power, the harmonizing power of love, and the unifying aspects of love. All things happen so that love becomes the response and ultimately the result of all things that we experience. To me, that allows me to see the potential built within whatever hardship I might be experiencing, right? To see it truthfully and rightly, and to find my power within that experience, right? And it's not personal. Look, it's the law of love. We often call it the law of attraction. And you think about love as magnetizing, and you think the law of attraction is a good word for it, right? Although that idea of the law of attraction oftentimes is used for the most mundane and I think, lowest level kinds of getting stuff that we want, right? Rather than thinking of it in terms of all things that happen, are happening for love to be the answer to every question. And it's law because it's not really personal to any one of us. A spiritual law, we know it's a law because it works the same way for everyone every time. There's no variation. We can't really break that law. But it does become personal to us, right? And the law of love becomes personal to me when I place my attention there day by day. When I interact with it, when I recognize that love is my nature and that I have something to do with harmonizing all the things that are going on with me. So in Unity, of course, we have beautiful spiritual practices. We have meditation and prayer. We have people do journaling and all kinds of other practices. The good news is that if we really engage with those practices, we are working always with this pivotal power of our mind, are we not? I mean, the practices are designed for us to kind of pull away from our attention on and the meaning making of our life based on our circumstances, and allows us to pivot around to that which is the ineffable of us, the eternal and true nature of us. And so in the book that Alicia and I, my daughter and I, wrote together, we propose 15 minutes of daily practices. In fact, we write an entire alphabet of possible practices, right, that are accessible to everyone, that, you know, even if someone is bedbound or in other ways physically unable to do a lot, these practices don't require us to spend a lot of money and get heavy duty training or have a lot of props and things like that. We design the list of them so that they'd be accessible to everyone. But there's such a value in selecting a particular practice that we devote 15 minutes in our day to doing every day. And this is particularly useful, we have found, for people who are dealing with chronic conditions, for example. And it doesn't have to be a physical condition, right? It can be a chronic mental or emotional challenge as well, where it feels interminable and it feels like all my life energy has to be devoted just to be able to do the things that are right in front of me day by day. So what happens when I'm consumed with with what's going on with me is that I don't have room for anything else, and I'm not getting anywhere, right? I'm not getting to that sweet spot of breakthrough that I'm longing for. And so we propose that 15 minutes of a particular practice that's designed to have me focused on my wholeness, on the truth of me, will literally disrupt the brain and body patterns and the biochemistry and begin to populate the feel-good chemicals throughout my system that allow me the respite from the continuous torture of a certain mindset and thinking about what's going on with me. It breaks that habit, and it allows me to begin over time, day by day by day, to begin to build a new paradigm, right? To literally pivot from hyper focus on my circumstance to recognition of my divine identity, right? And so we can pick one practice that kind of gets us to that place where we want to be. And I'd like to suggest this practice if you're interested, because it's my favorite thing, and it is Om chanting. So the thing I love about Om chanting is, number one, the syllable Om means oneness, right? And so automatically I'm thinking in terms of the unifying power of divine love when I chant Om. Secondly, and to me this bears a lot of fruit for me, is that if I think about what happens when I vocalize Om, I am impacting at least three of my spiritual powers, my innate powers, right? Because in order to chant Om continuously for a 15-minute period, what I'm doing is opening my lungs. And as my lungs engage, I'm literally pressing, vitalizing my wisdom chakra, my wisdom center, my aha center in the upper abdomen, just above the navel. I am massaging it with every breath. Think about that. And likewise, my heart center. With every breath, as my lungs inflate and deflate, I'm massaging my love center, the unifying power center. And of course, I'm vocalizing, which means that I am using my power and declaratory power center, which allows me self-mastery, for me to literally take hold of the opportunity that I have, even in the condition that is unwanted, to be able to claim that I am not helpless at all, and that in fact, I am very powerful, and to be able to claim that and to live a more full life today. So to me, that's just one of my most glorious practices that is very simple, right? It's simple. I open my mouth, oh, I mean, it's so simple. I need nothing in order to do that. So anyway, I'll leave that with you as one of my favorite practices. But this is just to say that our teachings are so rich, and yet, as we know, it's the practice of them. And we don't have to go sit in a cave on a hill in the Himalayas in order to really benefit, right? In order to really grow spiritually and to come into an awareness of our true divine nature. It's the little things, it's the little daily habits and practices that bear the greatest fruit for us. And this is the good news, isn't it? When I'm kind of stuck in a rut or feeling helpless against a set of circumstances, it doesn't take too much effort, based on studying, based on the years of study of our principles, to be able to pivot my attention, right? And to go from upside down thinking to right side up, where the power really is for me and for you. So anyway, I'm so excited about this, that I'd love to lead us in a meditation experience that allows us to take root for us in whatever way it might benefit you today, and for whatever you came here for. If there's a kernel of something that inspires you, I would ask you to take that into this time of meditation with me, all right? So just in your own way, just let's slow down and to sit in the most comfortable way so that we can be relaxed and yet mentally alert. Becoming aware of our breath and directing that breath, that prana, that very life energy and life force, directing it not only into the lungs, but to permeate every part of our physical sacred body. And to have that breath flow into our brains as a cleanser of the brain, just to clear the cobwebs of thought, to open a space, to be a gentle cleanser. Send messages down into the nerve fibers in your whole system and ask your nerves to calm. And we trust in this beautiful body temple that cooperates with our commands, that always its work is for our strength and vitality. So we honor and bless our body, grateful for our brains that now consciously direct our thoughts and pivot from anything that has been upside down. In a state of equanimity, peace of mind, We are centered in all that God is, in the source of all that our hearts desire. And we use God in the very best of ways. We honor God by using the very power that God is, to know that nothing could ever be missing, wrong, or broken, for we are one in power. This is our cause for freedom. It's our ability to be able to choose right side up thinking. In this open space, I'd like to read a few affirmations to you. First, an affirmation for freedom. Breathing easily, I free myself from false imaginings of lack or limitation. Connecting to my innate wholeness, I am free to experience the fullness of life today. Understanding that I cannot be chained to or bound by my circumstances, I soar freely, healed as I fully focus on my passion and my possibilities. And for the possibility that it might be hard in moments to agree and to affirm this freedom, I also like to affirm my will, my great power of will. So I'll read our affirmation for will. Whether or not I notice in any moment, I am a choice maker. By the self-determining power of will, I choose my attitude and outlook. I choose how to respond to the demand of any moment's circumstances. I declare with the full force of will, I am not helpless. I never have been. I choose the path ahead. Will it be joyful or stressful? Easy or hard? Choosing as best I can each day, I am committed to great demonstrations of well-being that are possible for me. On days when it seems too hard, too daunting to choose well-being, on those days, I am willing. I am willing. Breathe consciously once again as you repeat, I am willing, silently to yourself. And notice where you feel and sense in your body the capacity for will. Charles Fillmore locates will in the prefrontal cortex, understanding and will right in the forehead, in the higher thinking aspect of our brain. So will is our capacity to turn our upside down thinking aright and be able to see the glory of our true nature. And so it is. So, friends, it's not as if we'll never have an upside down thought again, but it is the truth that by means of our spiritual practice, we know how to turn around. We know how to discover our power and to claim our wholeness and thereby to heal our life. So I honor and bless you for any spark of insight that may arise in your thoughts and feelings today, and for your courage to walk in human experience with your growing awareness of your spiritual capacities. I appreciate your presence here with me. And this is one thing I know for sure about you as well as about me, but I'll say it to you. You are divine.
Pray for me when my heart is sinking fast and holding on to what I thought was lost. Oh, lift me up when I can't let go. I'm wrapped in love when you pray. Pray for me when things turn upside down and all seems lost with no light to be found. Oh, lift me up and I will find a greater peace when you pray for me. Oh, pray for me and I will make it through. And from this place I can see what is true. There is a blessing in every breath and a love that's real beyond the veil of death. Pray for me. Oh, pray for me. I pray